I think I'm going to get started. So welcome everybody, and hopefully I will notice if there are people in the waiting room. So my goodness, I have so many buttons down here. So I'm going to share my screen now and share computer and optimize for video clip. Well, that's new and exciting. And so welcome to our second in our series of fabulous, fiery, actually I should say fabulous, fiery females, and I didn't adjust this slide, so I will do that. And we're going to focus on Ofra Haza. And when I started researching women, Israeli women singers, you know, the first one I looked for was Shoshana Damari, who I remember, and those of you who attended last time, I shared with you when I moved to Israel. Oh my goodness, all right. And I gotta be careful not to touch anything because apparently now it won't go back. It did before, but now it won't. There we go. And so as I started reading about Shoshana Damari, and I discovered the Jewish Women's Archive, which is a wonderful website, they cite Ofra Haza, and The Guardian cites Ofra Haza as one of the major links in a chain of Yemenite singers who have played a prominent role in the Israeli music scene over the years, including Brachat Tzfira, who we will not examine, and Shoshana Damari, and others, and Achinoam Mini, who we will look at next week. So now if I click the right, there we go. So Ofra Haza, like Shoshana Damari, was born to Yemenite parents. Unlike Shoshana, she was born in Israel in 1957. She was one of 8 children, grew up in the Hatikva quarter of Tel Aviv, which was a fairly poor quarter of Tel Aviv, and sang from a young age. She was a soloist with her choir, and she joined the Hatikva Quarter Theater Workshop, which was established by Bezalel Aloni, and Bezalel Aloni later becomes her manager. And so she's with him from the age of 12, and she releases her first hit at the age of 12 during this time. And so I'm going to switch screens right now, and we're going to have a little taste of the young, where is, not that. Hang on, let me, hang on, let me escape from this. There we go, and, okay. Extra window here. All right, can you all see the YouTube window?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And so this is her very, very first song, and I'm going to play segments from a couple of recordings just to give you an idea where this young lady started from. So, you know, you can hear the wonderful voice. This is from the early 70s. She was born in 57, which would make her 1 year older than I am. So, you know, she was in her early teens when this was recorded. And I want you to keep in your ear some of these early recordings because we'll see where she ends up going from there. So I'm going to go to a second recording now, which she sang in 1974, and she participated in the Mizrahi Song Festival. So keep in mind that, as I mentioned last week, in the 70s, there was a lot of racism against, well, towards Mizrahi Jews. Okay, Ashkenazim was the main central extraction of most people who were in the leadership, who were in the movement, the Zionist movement. Even though Yemenites were brought to Israel from way earlier, and it was, we learned, Shoshana Damari's family moved there in the early 20s. Mizrahi music was something that you heard in the bus stops, you know, you heard it in the shuk. And I remember walking through and going, oh my gosh, why do they have to play that stuff so loud? So they had their own separate song festival. And let me just cue up that window. And I will, so I'm going to play for you something that she sang at the Mizrahi Song Festival. And I want you to keep that in your ear, because it will be a long journey till she comes back to those Mizrahi roots. There it is. And this song is called Shabbat HaMalka, the Sabbath Queen.
והגענו לשיר התשיעי, שיר לשבת המלכה. המעבד אלדד שרים, ינצח אריה לבנון. הזמרת המוזמנת לביצוע שיר מספר 9, עופרה חזה.
So I know we would all love to listen to like all of these, but if we do, we'll be here till 9 o'clock, but I'm happy to send you all of those links later. So let's go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, and so she joins this theater group, and she's with them until 1974. She wins the Mizrahi Music Festival with that Shabbat HaMalka. It says, she says in an interview that she was 14 and that she borrowed her mother's shoes and had to do all kinds of makeup. However, by my math, she was 17. So, but she was extremely young. She goes into the Israeli Defense Force, into the IDF, and she has decided at this point that she wants to become a singer. She serves in the Nahal entertainment troupe, which Kol Nashim ladies, remember we talked extensively about the Nahal troupe sometime in March or April, I think. It's all become a blur. And she doesn't have success in attracting interest from the major Israeli songwriters. And so Bezalel Aloni, who has adopted her as his project, basically makes all of the decisions for her career. He later also writes for her. Let's just say graciously that he was not the greatest of songwriters. And so he makes the decision that she's going to appear in the movie Schlager, which it's translated as hit. It's not exactly hit. Schlager is kind of almost a jingle. more of a jingle than a hit. It's an earworm. It's something that gets stuck in your head and you really can't get it out. And she sings the song Shir Hafrecha. And we're going to sing this. We're going to look at this in a minute. And this is, on the one hand, it's a good move. It becomes immensely successful around the country. However, frecha, it's a hard word to translate. They translate it, the translation that I found online is Song of the Tease, but it's kind of somewhere between a tease, a bimbo, a chippy. It implies not just that you're teasing, but that you're cheap. And in 1970s Israel, it was invariably used for Mizrahi girls. Ashkenazi girls were not frechot. Lower class girls were frechot. And so in some respects, this typecasts her into this role. And this is the Ofra Haza that I remember. So before we look at the translation, so we have a little bit of a summary. Ofra dates a dull student who bores her and she wants to dance and have a good time. I'm sure this student is also Ashkenazi and she wants to have a good time. So he calls her a frecha. And she says, if wanting to dance and have fun makes me a frecha, then go for it. I'm a frecha all the way. And so, and then of course she sings her song. And it is innocent and has nothing to do with being a sexual tease or anything like that. So we will look at the translation, just a couple of notes, which I didn't know either. Faraj, or Shemesh Shel Faraj. Faraj was a Photoshop, and their logo was a sun, and it was well known in Tel Aviv. I grew up in Jerusalem. Jerusalem was a different country. It was very, very far from Tel Aviv. Jerusalemites were welcome to come to Tel Aviv if they wanted, but from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem was a long way to go. So this was not part of my culture. And when she talks about, so in Israel, remember the climate is very different than here. If you have Eastern exposure, you get a lot of morning sun, it gets hot. If you have Western exposure, you have afternoon, it gets even hotter. So whereas we would not find northern exposure to necessarily be a good thing, in Israel it means you get cool breeze. And so if you're buying a good apartment, you want to make sure that you have exposure at least in 2 directions, ideally in 3 or 4. And so in Tel Aviv, because of pollution, when you have air from all directions, you have smoke from all directions. So click that. Okay. So here's our translation. Anybody want to volunteer to do some reading? Don't all speak up at once. Nobody. Okay. So she says, I'm not in the mood for your long words. And if you think about Show Me from My Fair Lady, right? Don't talk of love. I'm not in the mood for long words, and you're a sort of a long word yourself. And ciao, my friend, give my regards to your life with hope that you'll understand the frecha. The son of Faraj tears up the sea, and I sail along in flip-flops. Wherever the lights take me, I'll be there with nail polish, lipstick, and the other show-off stuff. Nail polish in Hebrew is laka, which is Hebraicized lacquer. Because I feel like dancing, I feel like nonsense, I want to laugh, but I don't want. I want to have a good time during the day and also at night. I want to scream, I'm a frecha. And then a face with a cool stare and jeans like in the newspapers, a permanent wave in my hair and posters instead of walls. I want to love like in the movies. A hunk that comes in English and in color. Come on, baby, the plane is waiting and another dream of mine takes off and cries. And we have the chorus. And then once, when I have time to grow up, the party will be over. For at the end of every frecha, there's a nice little apartment and a model husband and 1,000 directions of smoke. Okay, so we are going to learn the chorus. Go back. There it is. And I have the translation here. So it's important to understand this Bali which when it has an U in front of it turns into Va, because the bet loses its dot. And Bali is like, I wanna. It's slangy. It's not I want, but I wanna or I needa, you know, like like you would say in slang. So Bali to dance, and Bali nonsense, and Bali to dance, but to laugh, but you don't Bali, okay? And Bali to laugh because I'm a frecha. Okay, so I'm going to read it a little bit at a time, half a sentence, half a sentence. Then we'll sing it a little bit, and then we'll go to the YouTube, and then I'll play that whole one, and you get to sing along. Ki bali lirkod, your turn. Ki bali lirkod. Uvali shtuyot. Uvali shtuyot. Bali litzchok. Bali litzchok. Velo bali alecha. Velo bali alecha. Bali bayamim.
Bali bayamim.
Uvali balelot. Uvali balelot. Bali litzchok.
Bali litzchok.
Anifrecha.
Anifrecha.
Now, the first time we do the chorus, it goes down on Anifrecha, and the other two times it goes up. Okay, and it is a bit faster. So I'm going to do the words once line by line, a little bit faster. Ki bali lirkod uva lishtuyot.
Ki
Bali lirkod uva lishtuyot. Bali litzchok velo bali alecha.
Bali litzchok
velo bali alecha. Bali bayamim uvali balelot. Bali bayamim uvali balelot. Bali litzok anifrecha. 3, 4. Bali litzok anifrecha. All right, you're going to have to mute yourself while we sing. Ki bali lirkod uvali shtuyot. Bali litzchok velo bali alecha. Bali bayamim uvali balelot. Bali litzok anifrecha. It goes down, and the other one, Bali litzok anifrecha. So we'll do it up. It goes up both. It's twice, and you'll figure it out already when you hear it. Oops. Sorry, password again. Here we go. Paste. All right. You want to do it line by line? Yes. Ki bali lirkod uvali shtuyot. 1, 2, 3. Ki bali lirkod uvali shtuyot. My turn. Bali litzchok velo bali alecha. 1, 2, 3, and Bali litzchok velo bali alecha. Bali bayamim uvali balelot. Bali bayamim uvali balelot. Bali litzok anifrecha. Bali litzok anifrecha. Okay, I'm going to get out of the screen share so that I can let other people in. All right. Sorry for those of you who are waiting in the waiting room. Oh, they're not connected yet. Hang on. All right. Sorry for those of you who are waiting in the waiting room. We were on screen share and I couldn't see y'all. So we're going to, those of you who've already done it, I hope you don't mind. We're going to review this course one more time for those people who have just joined in. So here I go, back and forth with screen share. It's just so much fun. All right, so we are learning the chorus of Shir Hafrecha. Those of you who don't know it, you're gonna do the best that you can. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ki bali lirkod uvali לי שטויות, בא לי לצחוק ולא בא לי עליך, בא לי בימים ובא לי בלילות, בא לי לצעוק אני פרחה. Okay? If you didn't get it, I can't hear you, so it's okay. We're not grading on this. All right, so we're going to go to the YouTube, and here we go. All right, we're gonna. There we go. And you've got the words in Hebrew, those of you who like it.
השמש עפרת קוראת את הים, ואני מפליגה בתוך הכפכפים, לאן שיקחו האורות אני שם, הנה לקהלים ספיגו שאר דאווים, כי בא לי לרקוד ובא לי שטויות, בא לי לצחוק ולא בא לי עליך, בא לי בימים ובא לי בלילות, בא לי לצעוק אני פרחה. פנים שלא עושות חשבון, וג'ינס בסטייל שכתוב בעיתון, צלצול נצחי בשערות, ופוסטרים במקום קירות, רוצה לאהוב כמו בסרטים, חתיך שיבוא באנגלית וצבעים, Come on baby, המטוס מחכה, ועוד חלום שלי ממריא לו, הוא זוכה, בא לי לרקוד, בא לי שטויות, בא לי לצחוק ולא בא לי עליך, בא לי בימים, בא לי בלילות, בא לי לצעוק אני פרחה. פעם שיהיה לי זמן להיות גדולה, פעם תיגמר המסיבה, כי בסוף כל פרחה מסתתר שיקום קטן, בעלי דוגמה ואלף כיווני עשן. בא לי לרקוד, בא לי שטויות, בא לי לצחוק ולא בא לי עליך, בא לי בימים, בא לי בלילות, בא לי לצעוק אני פרחה. בא לי לרקוד, בא לי שטויות, בא לי לצחוק ולא בא לי עליך, בא לי בימים, בא לי בלילות, בא לי לצעוק אני פרחה.
Okay, here we go. So I saw some of you singing along. So I hope you figured out when the choruses were. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. And so the challenge with Shir Afrecha was, it was a pop song, right? It was, if you think about the song that she sang, the Shabbat HaMalkah, that she sang for the Mizrahi competition, which was so close to her roots, this was a pop song. And so it becomes a huge hit in Israel. This is what I knew her from. It was okay. It was okay. That wonderful quality that she had as a young girl kind of went away. And so Aloni writes her material. By the way, I don't think that I mentioned that the gentleman who wrote the melody for Shir Afrecha is called Tzvika Pik, which when I was in middle school, we knew him as Tzvika Fichs. And he was kind of the, oh gosh, I blanked his name, the guy who did Tiny Tim. He was the Tiny Tim of the Israel music scene. We didn't think a whole lot of him. And so 1983, she is invited to perform for Israel at the Eurovision competition. Now, keep in mind that at this time, one of the requirements of the Eurovision was that the submission has to reflect the culture of the country that submits it. So there was none of this everybody singing in English. Everybody sang in their home language. When they switched over, and then it became, well, only the countries that really could sing in English usually won. And so the other countries protested and they changed it. And so she's invited to represent Israel at the Eurovision. And you can see from the picture here, and I have that YouTube and we'll watch it. You can see the backup singers in that quintessentially Israeli folk dancers look. You will see the moves that they make, that little Yemenite step and turn to the right, Yemenite step, turn to the left. It's very Israeli. It became a very popular song. Nothing connected with Yemenite roots. Now, at this point in time, it was impossible for Israel to win the Eurovision. And it is only in fairly recent years that they have won. And I can't understand why, because I can't stand that song. But anyway, but they did win second place. And this establishes and typecasts Ofra as a pop star. So here is the song Chai, which Ehud Mano, the lyricist, I think I don't remember if he's still alive or not. I didn't check, but I'm sure Carol will post that for us in the chat. Ehud Mano was a fabulous lyricist, a fabulous translator. He translated many old classic American songs for a group that was called Tov Hara Ve'Ne'ara. His use of Hebrew was top rate. And Avi Toledano was a very popular singer. So there's a couple of allusions in, if you see down here at the bottom, they say there's a pillar of fire, which refers to the pillar of fire. So listen, my brothers, and you'll notice she's a female. Everything is in masculine language. And the reason for that is that it's more concise, because Shim'u Echai is more concise than Shim'u Achyotai, which is my sisters. So everything is in masculine, even the chorus that my grandfather sang it and my father sang it, and now me. So listen, my brothers, I'm alive and my two eyes are still raised to the light. Many are my thorns, but also my flowers, and up ahead of me are years too numerous to count. I ask and pray, it's good that hope was not lost yet. Hang on, I'm getting, okay, message in the chat. A psalm passes from generation to generation like a spring from long ago and on to eternity. I ask and I pray. It's good that hope was not yet lost. And as you can see, this is not an artistic translation. So alive, chai, 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 and I'm hoping that nobody on this call thought it was chai. This is the song which grandfather sang yesterday to father, and today I sing, I'm still alive, alive, people of Israel are alive. This is the song that grandfather sang yesterday to father, and I sing it today. My days and nights are full of life, and in my sky, the pillar of fire still rises. I will sing endlessly. I will spread out my hands to my friends across the sea. I ask and I pray. It's good that hope was not lost yet. And then chai, 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 chai. So let's, well, where is my, there I am. Okay. Here we go. So these words are much easier than the Frecha song. So, chai, 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 ken ani od chai, your turn. Chai, chai, ken ani od chai. זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא. זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא. והיום אני. והיום אני. So let's do all of that in a clump. Ready? 2, 3, 4. חי, חי, חי. כן אני עוד חי. זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא, והיום אני. Second half. אני עוד חי, חי, חי. אני עוד חי, חי, חי. עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל חי. And then this is the same as the first half. And so, of course, she's singing Ani od chai instead of Ani od chaya, which wouldn't fit. And so she's singing in masculine. So the second half, please. Ani od chai, chai, chai. Am Yisrael chai. Ze hashir shesaba. Shar etmol le'aba. Vehayom ani. Very simple. All right. And you notice, those of you who were at the Shoshana Damari, that Ofra Haza is not a tenor. So we're singing in places that are much more comfortable for me. If you want to, anytime you want to drop the octave, obviously drop the octave. I can't hear you. And if you want to sing in a different key, knock yourself out because I can't hear you either. Still, hi, here we go. So starting from the beginning, I'm going to sing it through once. And I think a lot of you know this. And if you don't, I'm guessing that by the time I sing it through, you'll pretty much have it down. Here we go. Hi, hi, hi. כן אני עוד חי, זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא, והיום אני עוד חי, חי, חי. עם ישראל חי, זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא, והיום אני. Sorry, I forgot to prepare water. Do you need to go by line? Anybody? I see, okay. I see one yes, a couple, yeah, I see. Some people are yesing. So we're gonna go through it line by line for the first half, okay? Yeah, you can hear, it's much easier for me to stay in tune in these keys than trying to sing the Shoshana Damari stuff. Whoa, here we go. Listen once. Hi, 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 כן אני עוד חי. 1, 2, ready, go. Hi, 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 כן אני עוד חי. Listen. זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא, והיום אני. Ready? זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא, והיום אני. מי? אני עוד חי, חי, חי. עם ישראל חי. Here we go. 3, 4. אני עוד חי, חי, חי. עם ישראל חי. Same as before. זה השיר שסבא שר אתמול לאבא, והיום אני. Now I did notice when we did the previous song that some of you weren't singing. So if it's because you can't see your song sheets, once I share, it automatically goes to full screen on your computer. If you escape full screen, you can have a document open next to that window, and then you can see, yeah, it took me a while to figure that out too. So screen share will automatically take you to full, and you can get out of that. So I'm going to stop share. All right. Yes, I thought so. Ehud Manor, I had a feeling. I didn't say the song that won. I didn't look. And what don't I, oh, no, there was the Israeli one that won that I didn't like. The Toy, which sounds like nothing like an Israeli song. Anyway, share, and we're going to go to, and you know, because these ads are up, you know that it's copyright authorized.
לאור רבים חוכי אך גם פרחי ולפני שנים רבות מספור אני שואל ומתפלל טוב שלא אותה תקווה שיר שסבא שרה כמו לאבא, והיום אני הומים ימיי ולילותיי, ובשמי עמוד האש עוד קם, אשיר בלי די, אפרוס ידיי לידידיי אשר מעבר ים. אני שואל ומתפלל, טוב שלא דרדתי בם. חי חי חי, כן אני עוד חי, זה השיר שסבא שר כמו לאבא, והיום אני עוד חי חי חי, עם ישראל חי, זה השיר שסבא שר כמו לאבא, והיום אני שמועי חי, אני עוד חי, ושתי עיניי עוד נסתעות לאור, אז כל לחי לכל אור חי, ולבניי המבקשים לחזור. אני שואל ומתפלל, טוב שלא דרדתי בם. חי חי חי, כן אני עוד חי, זה השיר שסבא שרה כמו לאבא, והיום אני עוד חי חי חי, עם ישראל חי, זה השיר שסבא שרה כמו לאבא, והיום אני חי חי חי, אני עוד חי חי חי.
Okay, and I saw my video stopped, so all right, there we go. And another advantage of not having your screen on full is you can see the chat. If you open the chat, you'll have it on the side so you can watch everything at once. Yeah, everyone looks so wholesome and it's a little bit hokey. And you notice the Jufros on the girls and on the boys. And occasionally she's a little pitchy, and part of that is, you know, that Yemenite tradition of being, but you know, you watch this and you go, okay, you know, it's nice, you know, it's nice. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. And so the source materials that I used for this presentation were, as I mentioned, the Jewish Women's Archive website, which I've mentioned before, which is amazing and tremendous. An article from The Guardian on the 10th anniversary of her death, and an article from Haaretz on the 20th anniversary of her death, which was this year, and really reassessing her career. And so in 1984, well, actually, I'll say what you can see up here on the top, that in these 3 years between 1984 and 1987, the Haaretz author says that these are her golden years. She returns to her roots. Let me see. Yeah, she returns to her roots. Go away, Siri. She returns to her roots and releases an album called Shirei Teman, Songs of Yemen. And Galbi, My Heart, which we'll listen to part of, is kind of unique at the time. It's not something that has been heard before. She mixes the Yemenite song with some pop rhythms, and today we hear this all the time, but when it was released, it was something completely new and exciting. Whoop. There we go. We are not going to sing this one. can see how different, how this is closer to the early Yemenite song. And this is actually a later remix that came out. So she's returning to her roots. And most spectacular is a track from Shirei Teman called Nin Alu. Just, yeah. Hang on, let me, oh. All right, I went to the wrong window. Let me escape from here. There you are. Too many windows, so little time. And so the reviewer from Haaretz, and remember, this is 20 years after she dies. He talks about the first of Imnin Alu, which we will listen to in a minute, the magical first a cappella minute. And the quote is, "The main wonderment is Haza's singing. In retrospect, she sounds like she's gone through a true metamorphosis. Within 50 seconds, Haza turned from a gifted and successful but limited singer in terms of the quality of her songs and the range of her expression into a singer with a much greater emotional and artistic range." And as I told you, her earlier choices were dictated by Aloni, and his choice of lyrics was often childish and portrayed Haza as a child woman who believes in a good divine power. And at a time when pop music, it's hard to believe today, pop music was exclusively secular. It's hard to comprehend the limited appeal of more religious lyrics. So almost no one sang about God in popular music at that time, but Ofra Haza did. So I'd like to play you a minute plus of Imnin Alu. And I know for me, this was,
Hello, everyone.
Oh, good grief.
I'm coming directly to you for ask a quick favor. Will you add your
So this is really spectacular and hard to stop in the middle. And you hear that voice and you go, oh my God, oh my God. How is this the same person who was singing Chai, Chai, Chai? It's incomprehensible. And the text, I should have read this before, but it's hard for me to scan my notes and do the pages and get everything in the right order. So the text is by Rabbi Shalom Shabazi. And the text, Imnin alu dalte nedivim, dalte marom lo ninalu. If the doors of the benefactors are locked, the doors of heaven are not locked. And so this is spectacular. This is spectacular. And let me go back to, not yet. I can stay here until we get to our next song. So following the success of Shirei Teman, all of the songwriters who were not interested in writing for her before are suddenly ready to write for her. And so she releases an album called Adama. And in Adama, she has songs, both traditional songs and songs by some of the greatest of Israeli songwriters, Nomi Shemer, Sasha Argov, Efi Netzer, Shem Tov Levi, Yair Klinger. All of them want to write for her. And these are the songs that she becomes most beloved for. In the late 80s, she dives into a world of synthesizers and drum machines, which results in an album called Yamim Nishbarim, Days Are Broken. And these are songs that for the first time, she writes her own music. I was not able to find any of these songs on YouTube, but this may have been the first time when she expressed herself in the full sense of the word, and she sounds complete, exposed, and liberated. Now, it's a good time to mention that she was unmarried. She remained unmarried until very late in life. There was no romantic relationship with her manager, and she broke with him at this point. And so in 1986, this is an experiment. So Yamim Nishbarim, it's an experiment that includes synthesizers, pop sounds, her writing her own material, and on paper, it sounds like a recipe for failure. Too many experiments for one album, but somehow it works, and Yamim Nishbarim is a wonderful album, and the courage paid off. And this is her true expression of herself. So we're going to go now to our sing-along number 3, which is Shecharchoret, which I didn't write down. Carol, we heard this the other day in Ladino and the Cantors Assembly. I think Donna, you were there too. Remind me what the Ladino name is for something with an M. I can't remember. Somebody will find it. So Shecharchoret is dark one. And let me go back to here. Did I share the screen with you? Are you guys seeing the PowerPoint? Somebody?
It's not
No.
there.
No, okay, there we go. So you got to do things in the right order or it doesn't work. There we go. And so Shecharchoret is dark one. And you have to remember that, as we talked about for Kalaniot Adamdam, when you add that second repeated syllable, it becomes a diminutive and an affectionate. So Shecharchar would be masculine and Shecharchoret is feminine. So it's almost beloved dark one. And here we go. And so what's nice is that she's singing in the feminine, which I like. And so they call me the dark girl. My skin was pure white. From the fire of the summer sun comes my darkness. This is the order of the sentences in Hebrew, which backwards sounds a little bit English in. And the chorus, dark girl, so very beautiful. Your eyes a burning fire, my heart is yours. And then the dark girl they call me, all those who go down to the sea, if again they call me, I will go with them again. And the dark girl they call me, the king's son, if he calls me again, I will follow him. So the original is in Ladino, and you see the lyrics are Moshe Giora, who again was one of the great lyricists of the country. Well, that was not my, I hate the W's. Anyway, so Shecharchoret is a tricky word. So Shecharchoret, one more time, Shecharchoret. And then Yaf Yafit. So Yafa is beautiful. Yafit, you became beautiful. Yaf Yafit, you became extraordinarily beautiful. It's a literary use of the language. You wouldn't use this in every, you wouldn't say, walk over to somebody and say, wow, kama yaf yafit. They wouldn't use it that way. So it's very little. Be'enaich, in your eyes, be'enaich esh bo'eret, libi kulo shelach. All right, so let's do the words. Shecharchoret, Shecharchoret. Yaf yafit kol kach. Yaf yafit kol kach. And actually when she sings it, she adds a little syllable in there, so it sounds like Yafe yahafit kol kach. Yafe Yahafit Kohol Kach. So we're just going to do those two. Shehechahar Choret. Yafe Yahafit Kohol Kach. And you might want to do a little bit of hula with your hands to help you get that. Yeah. I'm not sure if you can see me. I guess if you, you can see my little window. I'm trying to remember what we see. Yeah. So, Shehechahar Choret, Yafe Yahafit Kohol Kach, Be'enayich Esh Bo'eret. Be'enayich Esh Bo'eret. And it actually slurs right in. That first line slurs in. So it's Be'enayich esh bo'eret libi kulo shelach. So you can hear even how the way I'm speaking the words, that there's a lot of decorations in here. Okay, so where's my key? Shechar choret. Yafe yafit kol kach, be'nayich esh bo'eret libi kulo shelach. And you'll hear that she puts in a bunch of extra stuff that my voice just doesn't do, especially without water at this point. Okay, me then you. Shechar choret. Ready? Shechar choret. Listen. Yafe yafit kol kach. Here we go. Yafe yafit kol kach. Listen. Be'nayich esh bo'eret libi. Here we go. And be'nayich esh bo'eret libi. Kulo shelach. Kulo shelach. Oh, Claudia, I see you flying against the universe there. It's really pretty. All right. Here we go. Ready? The whole thing. Shechar choret. Yafe yafit kol kach. Be'nayich esh bo'eret libi kulo shelach. One more time. And Shechar choret. Yafe yafit kol kach. Be'nayich esh bo'eret libi kulo shelach. All right, and I have to say, escape, hang on, let's stop the share. And I have to say that this is the one that I'm most tempted to arrange for Kol Nashim, because I wake up in the middle of the night with this in my head. Okay, here we go. No ads in this one. Sorry?
That's the Ofra Haza we knew.
Yeah.
When she looked like that.
Yeah. Well, this is the cover from, I believe this is the cover from Adama. All right, here we go. And if you have all the lyrics in front of you, this is a very easy melody to pick up. So, it's just a matter of getting the Hebrew in your mouth fast enough. Here we go.
Shehar מלכה, בעינייך אש בוערת ליבי כולו שלה. שחרחורת תקראני בין לאה ומולך, אם עוד פעם יקראני
So I could listen to her sounding like that forever. Who was dancing? I couldn't tell who was dancing. Oh, Lisa was dancing. So it's good. Morenica. Morenica is what the original Ladino name was. So yeah, thanks, Carol. I remembered that as we were watching that. So let me go back to my PowerPoint. And so after the golden years, as I said, Yamim Nishbarim comes out. 1987, a new mix of Nin Alu, which is actually what we heard before. And according to the opinion of the Haaretz arts writer, the 13 years from 1987 to her death in 2000, you know, she was very concerned about being popular. And so she followed the fads, she followed the trends. She was marketed to an international audience as an exotic diva, which was not really her personality, it was not really who she was. She was very, very popular outside of Israel. When she went home again, she always had her hardcore fans that were happy to hear her. But I mean, to me, that Ofra Haza of Shecharchoret and of Nin Alu is just so beautiful and so spectacular. And so the quote here is also from the Haaretz article under the photo. In purely artistic terms, there was a price for the international success. And she married only a few years before she died in her 40s. She always had this very clean girl image. And so people were shocked that she died of AIDS. I was not able to find anywhere a clear conclusion as to where she got AIDS, whether it was a blood transfusion. There was a lot of noise in Israel that her husband gave it to her, and I believe he died a few years later. So really a tragic end to somebody who was a wonderful talent, but really wanted the brass ring, and the brass ring motivated her more strongly than staying connected to her roots, which was where she was really the most wonderful artist. And you'll see when we look at Achinoam Nini in 2 weeks, who I am deeply investigating now, that Achinoam is 50. So 13 years younger than Ofra would be if she were alive today. And she grows up in the United States, but surrounded by a big Yemenite family. She goes back to Israel, to a very different Israel, where there are Mizrahim in the government, and Mizrahi music is part of the general culture. And so she has no issues with embracing her roots and keeping that as part of what she does. So I have a link to Deliver Us if you would like to hear that, she was asked by Steven Spielberg. She voiced Yocheved in the movie, and it's very Hollywood. It's very, very Hollywood. So I can play you a little bit of that. Let's exit from the share here and go into here. And it is a little bit jarring on the wake of Shechachoret and how beautiful and how pure she sounds. Hang on. It's such Hollywood.
ילדי הטוב והנאה, אל תירא ואל תפחד. My son, I have nothing I can give but this chance that you may live. I pray we'll meet again if you will.
Oh my goodness. And on and on. So that's what I've got on Ofra Haza. If there are any questions or things that people want to talk about, I'm happy to stick around. I'm by no means the Ofra Haza expert in the universe. As I told you, all of this stuff is easily found on Google. If there's any of the tracks that you would like to hear more of, I'm happy to do that too, or I can just send you my Word document with all the links in it.
You know what, Leah, I really liked the Jerusalem of Gold that she sang, even though you didn't.
Yeah, if it's the one that I'm thinking of, it was so pitchy that and slow, and I just like
It was slow.
Didn't make
it's
it
on YouTube.
Didn't make it through.
What does pitchy mean?
Say again. What does
Pitchy.
Pitchy.
Yeah,
Oh,
what does that mean, pitchy?
It wasn't in tune.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't in tune, and she was singing with an orchestra, and
Oh.
it was like
Painful.
yeah. It was difficult for me to
Somebody with a good ear like Leah's, it really.
well, and to me there are more beautiful performances of Jerusalem of Gold.
I was interested, what made her go back to the Yemenite roots when she started, when she did the Yemenite album and the clothes and everything, because she was more like the typical Israeli girl.
I didn't find it's hard to find information on that. I would guess that the breakup with Aloni, she wanted to be successful. She really wanted to be successful. She was from Shchunat Tikva, the poor, and she wanted to make it. She wanted to make it. And I think that there was an element of, I'm going to throw everything I can at the wall until something sticks.
Well, we lived in a Yemenite neighborhood for 5 years in Hadar Yosef in Tel Aviv, and I'm very familiar with Shchunat Tikva, and I'm also very familiar with the way the Yemenites pronounce Hebrew, and some of her singing sounds just like praying. It sounds just like davening. It's just beautiful.
Yeah,
but it has that Mizrahi tone, and
Yeah, I like that.
It has multiple syllables.
This is the way they sing, and this is the way they talk. That's their culture.
right. That sound
And
quality.
the Ashkenazic culture, completely different.
Yes, but she also, you know, a lot of what we hear, and those of you who attended the Cantors Assembly presentation this past Sunday with Dashi, when she sings, it is so very forward and so very nasal. And Ofra, if you listen to Nin Alu, yes, it's very connected to her roots, but it's kind of a blend of those two sounds. It's just gorgeous. I mean, it's just so sensuous and yummy, and you just want to roll in it. You know, it's really nice. Roberta, you had said that Marvin participated in a recording session with Ofra.
Yes, he was on Galbi. Galbi used an orchestra. He played bassoon. He was a member of the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. That's my late husband. We lived in Israel for 10 years while he was in the orchestra. And we met her on several occasions. And she was a lovely person. And we understood her culture completely because we lived in that culture. And yes, he played on that album.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for him when you played the clip. I was looking to see him.
I think I didn't see that looked like the remix, the later remix, because that was a rock band. You know, there were the electric guitars and the drums and stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't find another recording. I could try to look. You know, not everything.
I'm not sure. I have it here at home. I have to look for it.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you.
We're at the mercy of the wonderful people who pirate things and put things up on YouTube for us to find.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. It's wonderful to see. Anisha, you look great. We haven't seen you in years and years. And I hope you will join me again on July 2nd when we look at Achinoam Nini. And I will be sending, thank you, Lisa, I will be sending invitations and reminders and stuff. Feel free to share this. We're opening this up to the world at large so people know what the Colorado Hebrew Chorale and what Kol Nashim is doing. As we use this platform to continue to perpetuate and present Jewish music, even though we can't perform it right now.
For all the background information you gave us tonight, it made it so much meaningful.
My pleasure. I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun.
I know.
With this, that it's really great that people are coming in because
We love it.
It's a whole world. It's a whole.
It's so
world.
nice. It's so nice to see so many of you again. How are you, Judy? You know?
I'm great. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah,
too.
Doing all right?
It's a lot easier to come rehearsal this way than driving from Boulder, huh?
Yeah,
Your flute?
that's for sure.
You have your flute with you?
Yeah, actually I do.
Oh.
Within reach. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I should have stopped